Hey, we're going to look at this week, but I'm going to actually go back a couple of weeks, and some papers that I actually haven't gotten back to you, but I intend to here directly, would be the crafting a future statement. And there's 5 things in there that I think are really important, and I'm just going to touch on them really rapidly because I think you guys did a great job going through those, and I've jotted them down for myself. First of all, passion. Your passion, of course, is the thing that moves you. And it's interesting how important this is because you get out of bed every morning and you've got your day to face. And when you've got kids, those are sort of going to be an obligation, and they may very well be the most important thing in your lives for a good reason. However, it's not necessarily what we're looking for in terms of an overarching passion of something that you can apply to your career. So consider that as you look back on that paper and you get my comments on that. Secondly, the values you have. Your values are the philosophy behind your intentions. Really quickly, what that means is the philosophy is, your belief structure, of course. And then behind your intentions. In other words, you are not only going to believe, say, that you're a vegan or you care a great deal about race relations or social equity, but then your intentions is that you're going to act in such a fashion that you actually endorse and people can see that you are very, very concerned about certain aspects or certain issues, and that's your really that falls in under your values. Your attributes, of course, are what you bring to the table. You know who you are, you know what you've got, and so you have a certain set of attributes you're going to bring. Maybe you're very articulate, maybe you're very good at math, whatever that is. However, on top of that, those attributes are can be looked at. So you also are looking at your own personal advantage, your self-described advantage. If you are a weightlifter and you are just remarkably strong and whatnot, then clearly you understand that as a strength. But within your life itself, looking around at other people, you think, well, here's what I've got. Here's my strength. So that, I think as you guys were writing through that, but it's also this whole course is about bringing out these 5 things. And of course, where do you want to be in 5 years, 10 years? When you think about that, when I've been reading your papers, where doesn't just mean where you want to be in relation to a career, but where do you want to be really on the globe? I'm going to encourage you to think outside of Hendersonville, and a lot of you have moved a great deal, but some of you have not. There's not a right or wrong answer to this, but I'm just going to challenge you to consider maybe being somewhere else and seeing yourself out of a given environment might open up more doors for you. So that's free information. 2 more things. First of all, I would like to talk about a concept as you study about assigned importance. Can you assign importance? In other words, a person who needs to become a great chess master has to be able to assign importance to that and dedicate a fair amount of their time to becoming terrific at that in that field. That's assigned importance. Assigned importance also is if you have a paper due on Wednesday and you've got a whole lot going on in your life and you're like, I'm going to have to let that slide. That means you aren't assigning importance to that. Yet when you look at that opposed to, say, some other obligations you have, some familial obligations, maybe sleep, travel and whatnot, assigning importance means that is going to become the important thing because you see that as sort of a step towards a given goal you have as it relates to your education and as it relates to your future. So I'm going to encourage you as you are getting into the sort of college realm here again, and I know a lot of you are not necessarily traditional students, so I speak with some respect in that regard. But I'd like to point out that you need to be able to assign importance to things that may seem trivial to you, yet while you're in school, while you're taking these courses, it's really vital that you do that. And then finally, I'm going to point out something there again, going through these papers that I'm going to encourage you to do. If we're talking about your attributes, your strengths, your vision, your values, your philosophy, some of you are very sort of humble in how you present yourself. I will point out, though, that in the workplace, and for those of you who've already been in the workplace for a while, I think you'll recognize this is so, that you need to self-advocate. That is, that you need to say, no one else is going to be putting me out there. I need to do it for myself. So if you have an opportunity for a gig, a job, a class, an opportunity in general, that you're going to be saying, yes, I want that. Yes, I'm qualified. Yes, I'm the person you should choose. as opposed to, well, I don't know, I do a lot of things and I'm not, very outgoing. Really, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot to be said for being outgoing. Okay, so that's 5 minutes free advice. All right, by this point in time, I imagine that most of you have gone all the way through Unit 3, because I'm doing this on Sunday evening. And let's go to Unit 4 and just talk about really quickly what shows up on that. First of all, let's go ahead and skip right to the to-do list and dates. And this is campus connections. And I'll point out that if you're on campus and you're able to be around your cohort and your fellow students, whether you're a traditional student or an untraditional student, it is really important, and the data shows this, that people who make connections on campus with others are more likely to follow through on their program. Now, let's say you're a non-traditional student, you're a parent who has got a couple of kids at home, and you're trying to sort of plug in here. I'll encourage you to try to make connections on campus as well, so you are not only in that one realm of your family, but you also become part of an academic community, one that will help you both vocationally and in terms of your general academics. And this section we're getting into is largely about academics. So try your best to sort of reach out and make some connections. And you're going to find out that we're going to be talking about the library resources, and we're going to be talking about other kind of opportunities at Blue Ridge Community College. And while I'm asking you to connect with Blue Ridge Community College, if you see opportunities connect at other institutions, that falls in bounds when it comes to the assignments you're going to see here in a little bit. So let's just scroll down real fast, and I'll point out that we have due dates, and I'm just going to tell you that they're right here. And for the discussion, I'm going to ask you to have a first post by Wednesday the 5th, and then have another post, a couple more posts by Friday the 7th. So just be conscious of that. And I'm just going to scroll right down here, and it says, remember, no late work is accepted, unless you're in some kind of twist, in which case, reach out to me. And that goes for the several of you who have gotten a little bit behind, but you're still clearly trying. Reach out to me. You know that everyone who's reached out, I've gotten right back with you, and I've done all I can to make sure you're still in the loop, because my goal is that all of us make it through these 8 weeks, and we're almost halfway through. That said, let's look at the lessons we're going to have. We're going to talk about the library at Blue Ridge, but there's also a lot of online information, ways to access that. If you can't get on campus, and I want you to be conscious of that, and then we're going to go through Chapter 10, and then there's an assignment about campus connection, and this is where I'm asking you to try to find some kind of connections and some kind of activities, clubs or whatnot, that you see some value in. And if it's hard for you to find, well, then I'm glad you're in the course, because it's not going to happen automatically. You really are going to have to look for those. And then we have, let's see here, the quiz on the library unit. That's going to be right there. And then we come down to the discussion this week that I've already mentioned. So with that said, I will be getting your papers back to you. And if it looks as though I am not participating in the discussions, my apologies. I have been in the background going through those with you guys, and I'll try to be a little bit more involved this week as my schedule allows as well. But I will encourage you that the papers are great, the input is great, the discussions you are participating in really have been terrific. And I just really appreciate the intelligence and the sincerity of your comments in the discussion and the information you've turned in. And please don't fall behind in any of these assignments. And if you are, reach out to me. I'll do whatever I can to help you out. You have a great day, and I hope you enjoy this week.